What is going on, guys? PXCam here, back in with a brand new video. We are here at my home racetrack of Willow Springs. As you can see, we are here for a Manufacturer Cup race in our Honda NSX, as we are ranked in 6th place for this lobby, as we do have some S rank players, A+ rank players, and some A rank players. So it's going to be a really difficult lobby, as we do have a mixed batch of different ranked players. So it's going to be very interesting. Our best goal here is just to avoid all the dirt on the side of the road, avoid hitting the curbs at the wrong angle, and avoid all the carnage and the collision that ends up happening here at Willow Springs as we are jumping into the lobby. So again, felt very confident about going into this race. The Honda NSX performed very well, but I know there's some other cars that were doing way better, like the Subaru WRX was performing pretty good. The Porsches were performing really good here, and so were the Mazdas. So that's something that we just had to kind of keep aware of, and just kind of find our own little pace here, stay away from all the trouble again, and just stay away from the carnage, and hopefully we can get a really good finish here if we are able to get a good qualifying. So jumping into the points here, we were actually racing for 243 points if we got first place. We were looking to at least get a 5th place here, because if we were able to get a 5th place, we'd at least come out with a couple of points here that should be able to help us out in the Manufacturer Cup standings, and hopefully it can propel us up forward and we can be a little bit better on the standings, especially for our manufacturers. So before we jump into qualifying, if you guys really enjoy the content, we're trying to reach a goal of 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So if you guys enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video, as it really helps out the channel when you guys do so. Anyways, that's not promoting myself. Let's jump straight into qualifying. So jumping into our qualifier, this is going to be very important, as it is very difficult to overtake here on Willow Springs. The only thing you have to basically focus on when you guys are trying to overtake is to capitalize on other people's mistakes. As we come into our first flyer lap, we get a little too tight, clip the inner apex, and we get a little bit loose and go for a second run. Going to our second run, we do the exact same thing, clip the inner apex, get loose, spin out, but at least we were able to get one lap in, but we were only able to get a 1:11.8. So deciding to go back onto the track to get a better time, we accidentally overcooked the corner, go straight into that jump, and get reset back into the track. So we jumped straight into our race here, as we did qualify in 11th place with a 1:11.8. And luckily we didn't have to really worry about the strategy, as that was kind of non-existent, as we are in our sock livery here. Thank you to Danny. Not sure exactly why he gave us this sock livery. I mean, I can't think of any reason why someone would want to make a livery of me about socks. I mean, I wear pretty normal socks, you know, sushi socks with wasabi, you know, the normal stuff. But anyways, enough talking about the livery. Let's jump straight into the races. We get our 3, 2, 1, and we are a go, as we come down to the front straightaway, heading into turn number 1, right behind the Subaru. Staying right behind the Subaru now as we come out of this long right-hander. We're just going to stay right behind him, as he's going to try to make a move onto the outside of the Porsche. Going into this quick left-hander, the Porsche and the Subaru are going side by side to make a little bit of contact, and that's going to allow us to try to move onto the inside now as we come into this right-hander. Coming to the right-hander, we're trying to make a move onto the inside of the Porsche, but he just gets too much momentum coming out of the corner, and we have to let him go there as we get squeezed into the inside, and we stay in 11th place here on lap number 1. So going down to the straightaway here, again, our objective is just to stay on the track and just stay as clean as possible, as I'm expecting at least half these guys ahead of us to go spinning out by accidentally clipping the dirt, or just making a mistake and racing too hard and hitting each other out. So we're just going to do as best as we can to try to time our overtakes and see if we can get around these guys easily as we come down the straightaway now to end lap number 1. So coming to lap number 2, we're coming to the final corner again, as we are now heading down to this tricky part of the track. A couple cars clip the inner curb, and they do the exact same thing that I did in qualifying, and you can see they go off to the outside, go into the gravel, and we are able to catch up to them now, as we are getting a ton of time on the Subaru as we come into lap number 3. Going into turn number 1, we try to make a move onto the inside, but it's a little too optimistic of the Subaru, so we have to kind of fall back in line and just follow them here as we come into this long right-hander. Coming to the long right-hander, a couple cars ahead of us are starting to battle a little bit now, as we are starting to make a move onto the inside of the Subaru, and that's going to allow us to go side by side now as we're going to head into this left-hander, break right at the 50-meter board, try to see if we can outbrake him. He almost makes contact with the Porsche, and we're able to stay on the outside here as we're coming now into the inside part as we come into this right-hander. So staying on the inside here, we're able to kind of squeeze out the Subaru, and we are able to overtake him and get our 10th place now as we're heading to this left-hander. The Volkswagen ahead of us gets into the dirt, loses his traction a little bit, and we're able to now get ahead of him here as we're going side by side onto this little short straightaway. Let's see exactly what happened here as he's going onto the outside of the Huracan, gets very loose after clipping the dirt, makes contact with the Huracan, and we're able to capitalize on that little mistake there, as we are now ahead of him and are able to promote ourselves into 9th place as we come down the short straightaway. So coming down the short straightaway, you can see right behind me that they're going 3 wide, so that's something we had to keep an eye on. As you can see right here on the radar, they're going 3 wide, so we're just gonna stay onto the outside, try to get away from them as best as we can, so just in case if they do mess up and wreck, we are not caught up in the mix. As you can see, even more cars ahead of us are starting to beat and bang and go battling against each other now as we come into the final corner. So coming to the final corner, get very close to the inner part of the apex, but we're able to keep it clean there as we come down the straightaway now. We lose a little bit of momentum coming out of the final corner. As you can see, there's a car coming onto the outside. It's actually the green Volkswagen, and he's able to make a clean overtake on the outside coming to turn number 1 on lap number 4, and we have to relinquish 9th place now as we are demoted back into 10th place. So coming to the Rabbiteer here, we're just staying right behind the Volkswagen now, as we are gonna just follow him and see if we can try to get a good run out of the Rabbiteer. If he gets very loose coming out of the corner, gets onto the dirt, and we are able to overtake him once again and promote ourselves back into 9th place after him making a mistake, and focus our sight now on the Huracan as we jump into this little short straightaway that's going to lead us into lap number 5. So jumping up into lap number 6, nothing really happened on lap number 5 as we are still catching up to the Huracan, but you can see now there's a huge gap behind us to the Volkswagen, so we don't have to really focus on the cars behind us now, as we are just focusing on the cars ahead of us and see if we can catch up to them and just push the car as much as we can, but avoid again the gravel. So coming down the straightaway here, there's actually a car ahead of us that gets a 1 second penalty, so I decided to see what exactly happened. And I know he was big time mad when he got that penalty, because all he did was basically make contact with the Ford ahead of him, and just the slightest amount of contact gave him that 1 second penalty. Very unfortunate for him, but his misfortune is going to turn into our fortune, as we are actually going to be able to overtake him on the straightaway here when we reach the penalty zone. So coming to the penalty zone, the Huracan gets a little bit loose getting into the gravel trap, as the one car has to serve his penalty. We get onto the inside of the Porsche, and we're able to capitalize on that and move ourselves into 8th place and set even closer to the Huracan right ahead of us as we're heading to the final corner. So coming to the final corner, the Huracan brakes very late, goes very wide going into that corner, but we are able to get on him and get into the slipstream and get even closer to him now as we jump into lap number 8. So jumping into lap number 8, staying right behind the Huracan, we see we're getting a little train here now from 4th place to us, and we are just going to be following this little train here now as we come into the right-hander. There's actually a car on the outside, as it is the GTR. As the GTR, we were riding along with him. Not sure what's going on with the Mazda ahead of him, but you can see he's getting all over the places. He's lagging left and right, and I think that threw off the GTR. He goes spinning into the wall, and we are able to capitalize on that mistake, and we are now promoted into 7th place. So we're just picking people left and right after they are just making mistakes after mistakes after mistakes, and we are now promoted somehow into 7th place without really doing much. Honestly, we've just been, again, just riding along and just capitalizing on people's mistake as we are fast forwarding here now into the final few corners. So coming out of the final corner here, there's actually a car that goes a little bit wide. We go a little bit wide, and luckily we didn't end up spinning there, as we got very close to losing the back end as we come down to the straightaway, leading us into lap number 9. Coming to turn number 1 on lap number 9, we are able to get behind the Porsche now, as the Huracan was able to overtake the Porsche, as we both did the exact same thing on the final corner, got very wide, get into the gravel trap, and actually slowed both of us down. But we are now getting on the Porsche here, as our tires are still holding up, but not sure how the tires are holding up for the cars ahead of us, as we were trying to just look every which way to get around this Porsche, as we almost made contact with him going into this corner. So coming to the right-hander here, we're trying to see if we get to the inside, but a little too optimistic as he covers the spot there, slams the door on us, and we just follow right behind him here as we come into the short little left-hander. So coming to the short little left-hander here, we're following the Porsche here and just seeing if we can try to get closer to him, as we are now on lap 11 here. Again, going to the left hand, you see two cars get very wide, go into the dirt, and they're both off almost simultaneously, synchronizing, drifting on the outside. Not sure what happened here, as we're on riding along here with the Ford. The Ford and the Lamborghini both get into the gravel, and they both just do synchronizing drifting, as that was very cool, honestly. I mean, misfortunate for them, but that was awesome from our end, as we were able to see some synchronized drifting here at Willow Springs on the dirt road. And we are now promoted into 5th place, as we were able to gain 2 positions for the price of 1, and we are now in 5th place as we jump up into lap number 13. So coming to lap number 13, we're planning to switch off from the softs to mediums on lap number 14, but you can see the leaders actually coming in, so I decided, hey, why not try to do an undercut here and try to get ahead of 3rd place. As you can see, the Porsche did not pit in front of us, so we're gonna come out on the mediums here, but unfortunately we stayed right behind the Huracan on lap number 14, so we got to deal with the Huracan now, and hopefully it does not hold us up, as we do have fresher tires now compared to the Porsche that didn't come into the pit. So we're gonna see if we can try to get an undercut here, as we are now coming down the short straightaway and leading us into lap number 15. So coming down the short straightaway, we're right behind the Lamborghini, but he's giving us the blinkers to let us to go around him, but not sure exactly where he wanted us to go around, as he was going onto the inside and we were following him there, but we were able to get a little bit of a slipstream. Kind of held us up a little bit. You can see a couple cars ahead of us are now coming to the pits, so this is going to be the go time, and to see if our little strategy is actually going to work out as we come down into lap number 15. So coming to our final lap now, we are trying to catch up to the Porsche ahead of us, as he did switch off from the soft to medium, and we're just trying to push and push as much as we can, but avoid making any type of mistake and avoid getting onto the gravel, as we're just trying to get as close as we can. So we now head into the rabbits here. Coming out of the rabbits here, we get a pretty good run here, as the Porsche still has cold tires, braking right at the 50-meter board. We're just trying to push, but we are getting very, very loose coming out of the left-hander, as we are trying to push a little too much here, as we are trying to just abuse the medium tires as much as we can, since we only have them for about 2 laps. So coming to the left-hander here, we get very, very loose. You can hear the tires squealing, and we end up going into the dirt, make a mistake, and that's basically going to be race over for us, as we are going to most likely finish this race in 5th place, and we come down to the start finish line. No one else makes a mistake ahead of us, and we finish this race in 5th place. Not too shabby. We did start off in 11th, so we were able to gain about 6 positions there. So very, very good race for us. I wish we could have done a little bit better. I know we could have qualified a lot better and at least qualified in a higher spot. Who knows where that would have pushed us up to. We probably could have finished in 3rd place, as you know, the 3rd place car wasn't too far ahead of us, and if we would have probably started a little higher up in the order, we wouldn't have had to fight with as many cars as we needed to, but at least we were able to make up 6 places on this race, so not too bad in order to do that, and we were able to get at least 202 points, so that should help us out a little bit on our manufacturer standing. So again, very, very interesting race. Big Willow is always an interesting race. You always have to be on top of your toes, but be pushing the car to its absolute max, but make sure that you don't make any type of mistakes when it comes down to getting close to the gravel trap. So if you guys found this video very entertaining, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video. It really helps out the channel when you guys do so. And if you guys found it entertaining, I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace out.